Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here, and in this video I want to share 6 Roman history releases that were released within the past year or so that I completely missed, mostly because I was on my booktube hiatus and everything. But I've been writing a lot of these down as I've seen them either on Discord or ads or whatever, other people's content and stuff. So yeah, I did a video kind of similar to this on medieval history books that recently came out that I totally missed as well. I'm just trying to cover all my bases now that I do my kind of monthly, upcoming releases. I feel like I did miss a year there with lots of good stuff. But yeah, like I said, I'll leave a link to the medieval one, and let's just go ahead and get started. What's interesting is in this kind of grouping, there's 3 straight biographies plus 2 books that are on groups of people. So it's very people focused on this one. But anyways, we got Messalina, A Story of Empires, Slander, and Adultery by Honor Cargill Martin. And this is obviously a biography of Messalina. For those who don't know who she was one of the middle emperors of the Emperor Claudius, or middle wives of the Emperor Claudius. I can't remember if she was 2nd or 3rd. But anyways, it was before Agrippina. But she's pretty well known for some promiscuous acts, we'll say, from the sources. You'll have to read the book where she gets into competitions with, brothels and prostitutes and all that kind of stuff. Granted, I think this book is kind of trying to clarify, how hostile some of these sources probably were towards her and everything, and how accurate or inaccurate they might be. Just for example, Tacitus is going to be one of the main sources for the 1st century CE and kind of the imperial stuff. And we'll just say essentially, if especially in his kind of circle of Roman historians, basically if the woman was mentioned, it was in a bad way. A good female Roman woman, right, was someone who didn't get noticed, was just kind of in the background supporting the family and everything like that. You didn't want to have to write about her. So I think this is going to do a good job, hopefully clarifying up kind of a lot of the misinterpretations and probably rumors and kind of inaccuracies and everything. And I've seen a couple other people mention on the Historathon Discord and really liked it, so that's where I got this one from. And it reminds me a lot of Agrippina by Emma Southon, which is a book I read and really enjoyed. And this would be almost contemporaneous with that. So I'm kind of moving on to the next book. It's Emma Southon's other book that recently came out, A Rome of One's Own, The Forgotten Women of the Roman Empire. And I really enjoy her writing style. A lot of, really serious history people might not like it because it's quite irreverent, right? It's irreverent but accurate. So she does, she is kind of crude and makes joke, kind of light of some stuff. But it definitely makes it really entertaining, but it's also, like I said, really well done. And I read her book on Agrippina the Younger, who was another wife of Claudius, but she was also, the mother to Nero, sister of Caligula. Her life was a lot was going on there. So I really enjoyed her book. She's also got another one. I think I bought the audiobook for a long time ago. It was A Fatal Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. But I haven't listened to it yet. But I plan on pretty much finishing all her stuff just because I really enjoyed Agrippina. I think either of these books, if you want to learn more about kind of Roman women or Roman imperial women in particular, I think you probably won't go wrong with either of them. Like I said, I haven't actually read Honor Cargill Martin stuff before, but like I said, both are going to be definitely good, but I'm kind of hoping Messalina is definitely a much more kind of focused biography. The only thing I'm nervous a little bit with A Rome of One's Own is I think when I read the little synopsis, I think it covers 20 women or something, and that just seems like a lot for kind of a mid-sized book. So I'm hoping everyone gets enough coverage to kind of get something out of it. But anyways, moving on to the next one, we got Emperor of Rome, Ruling the Ancient World by Mary Beard. Now this is going to be my last Mary Beard read. I think I've read 3 of her books so far, SPQR, the 12 Emperors or whatever that book is called, and I think another one. And all of them have been very middle of the road. I know she's super highly regarded, everything like that. I don't know. I'm just missing something here. Why she is the big person in Roman history at the moment. I have seen some of her stuff on YouTube, and I think she's a really good presenter. I don't know if I'm just there's some sort of weird disconnect and stuff. But anyways, Emperor of Rome is it says it's what it is on the tin, right? It's all about kind of the lives of emperors, but it's not going to be just like a chronological history of like the emperors of Rome, which was when I first saw it, I was afraid, oh, you know, we've got so many of those. But I think it's more of like a social history of being a Roman emperor, as in like kind of like what did you actually do kind of like on a day-to-day basis, like, you know, where did you sleep and like what were you eating and how were you traveling around and stuff like that. I think more so than just like kind of like little biographies of Roman emperors, which I think if that is the case, I should like it a lot more, just because I do feel like there's almost like a cottage industry of like Roman emperor biographies kind of going around and everything. So anyways, I'm going to try that, and if that one is also middle of the road, I'm just going to be done. I'm just going to be done with Mary Beard. Like I said, none of them are really bad, none of them have been bad. It's just, I don't know, I just feel like everyone else is like, you know, praising her and everything, and I'm just like, it's just like average, I don't know. Anyways, going on to another biography, we've got Virgil, the Poet's Life by Sarah Rudin. Now, Virgil is actually a poet. I don't really, besides like, you know, the Aeneid, I don't really know anything about Virgil himself other than he was kind of like a client, you know, to his patron like Augustus and stuff. And, you know, the Aeneid is sort of like kind of like in the realm of like Livy. It's kind of, you know, written to sort of prop up kind of the new regime and everything. But that's about it. I don't really know anything else about Virgil. And this is part of, Yale has like a series called like Ancient Lives or Ancient Historic Lives or something like that. And they're almost like little, I wouldn't say, they're not novellas. I mean, they're still like they're like short books, but they're all on like different, you know, obviously ancient lives. But I've read, I think 3 or 4 of them. Like, you know, Demetrius, you know, Besieger of Cities is one. Who else did I? Crassus. And then like Marcus Aurelius, I think, just had one. But yeah, they're not picking always, well, I guess Marcus Aurelius would be like a huge one, but they're not always picking like the really big name figures. Like Phocion, I think, or Phocius is gonna be one like coming up for, if you know like ancient Greek history. So yeah, they're picking like kind of, I wouldn't say even obscure, like Virgil's not obscure, but like I've never seen a biography of Virgil either, so that's why I'm picking that one up. And I've generally enjoyed them, except the Marcus Aurelius one. I thought that one was not good, and that one was a disappointment just because I loved his other book on Marcus Aurelius and stuff. But anyways, yeah, I am planning on reading like that entire series, so there you have that. Herod the Great, Jewish King in a Roman World by Martin Goodman is the next one up, and this will round out I don't know why, there's apparently 2023 was like the year of like ancient biographies or something like that. I read one other book on the Herodian dynasty and really enjoyed it. Herod the Great, possibly partly because of his son Herod Antipater, or Antipas, gets a really bad rep, even though Herod the Great himself lived, I think he lived to about like 80. So, you know, you're talking like 70s BCE all the way down to, I think, is it 480 or 4C or 4 BC? Anyways, somewhere in that ballpark. And he pretty much just built like the kingdom of like Judea up in the kind of in the Roman imperial time period. He was a really good friend of Augustus. Maybe not really good friend, but he was definitely like a friend to Augustus and stuff. And as you know, Augustus kind of starts assuming power through the what am I thinking? The triumvirate with Lepidus and Mark Antony, and then kind of is, you know, overcoming and winning the civil war and stuff. You know, Herod's like favor just keeps rising as he supports Augustus. And it's kind of just interesting just because I read a lot of books on like Cleopatra as well. Cleopatra really strong-armed Herod, like when he was like really weak, just a really weak like kind of like vassal king and everything. Really kind of bullied him around and stuff, and it was like interesting reading how Herod was able to essentially return the favor, as Cleopatra and Mark Antony are kind of like on the losing side of things like afterwards. But anyways, like I said, Herod the Great actually like kind of like, you know, like I said, he just built like the kingdom of Judea like out there, kind of on his own. So I think it's gonna be a cool book, kind of putting him in context as, you know, the Romans always kind of go, you know, we don't want kings and this and that sort of thing. But they do make like an exception for the Jewish people over out there to have, you know, a king, a little like kind of like vassal state. But it is portrayed like, from everything I've read, it is very like Roman, like patron client like centered and stuff. But anyways, I think it's gonna be a cool book, kind of learning about that. But like I said, it's also gonna be interesting learning why in the Christian tradition and the Jewish tradition he gets a really bad rep, even though he he was kind of like the force behind like rebuilding the second rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem and stuff. But anyways, really interested in that one. And then I save, I guess, the one I'm most interested in for last, and it is Following Caesar, From Rome to Constantinople, The Pathways That Planted the Seeds of Empire by John Keehee. And this looks like almost like a travelogue and ancient history combined, where the author like talks about and actually like goes on the roads between Rome and Constantinople, which I don't know all of them. I know like the Via Appia and then the Via like Ignatius or Ignatia are like the two big ones from the like Roman Republican era, and I think there's like another big trunk road towards Constantinople during the imperial era. But I think from what I was understanding is he's basically gonna like do a travelogue of like walking on the roads, and then you're gonna learn like the history of the different places you go by, what you can learn from like the roads and the archaeological sites and stuff that you kind of could see and everything. I don't know, it just sounded really interesting, kind of like a blend of like an ancient history and a travel. I don't know, just sounded really intriguing, and that's why I want that. And I purposely, like after I just got enough, I didn't want to keep reading like more like blurbs and synopses. That way like it's kind of like a surprise for me. But there you have it. Those are 6 books that have recently-ish come out in Roman history that I'm excited for. And now I will be all caught up now that I'm doing upcoming releases and everything. I would have covered Rome. They said I already did the medieval one, and then I got a Greek history one coming up soon. So anyways, let me know what you think of any of these, which ones I should try to get a hold of first, and which one you think sounds the most interesting, and whether you're reading a book on ancient Rome or not. Always remember, read victoriously.